Welcome to X Marks the Spot podcast. The story you're about to listen to is all true. The only thing that has been changed are the people's names and their locations to protect their identity. Everything else has actually happened to myself and my guest in the story we are about to share today. And with that, let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to X Marks the Spot, the podcast. I am your host, Will, and today I have VK joining me on a conversation about...
Hello.
Yes, on a very fun conversation we're going to have about basically people who kind of, I guess, mentally and emotionally manipulate you. And here's the thing, it's also about us not even dating these people. We just kind of were casually, but also in a sense being used.
The worst kind.
So VK, thank you for joining, and I can't wait to hear this story. So let's start it off with, how did you two meet?
Okay, so we met at work.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was actually training me. So that's how we met. Obviously, we started talking as friends, though, like nothing serious. But he just seemed really like down to earth. Like someone that I could connect with instantly. So like we became best friends. But yeah, like I don't know what else to say about this.
So you guys had an instant, was it like an instant connection where you guys,
like
was it like over time or?
We like knew each other. It felt like we knew each other like right off the bat. But like I never met this dude in my life. Until that one day.
But you guys had that like almost like chemistry of just like even being next to each other. You're like, wow, you're like, I feel like
we were just like so like talkative, and like we just got to know each other within that whole shift that we had. But yeah, like the chemistry was there. Don't know about now.
I would be surprised if it was still there with all the issues that.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would actually be an interesting story. I mean, on your guys' wedding, I'll toast and be like, we talked about you.
I don't think that'll ever happen. And if you do, I'll probably just run away.
You'll be the runaway bride of your one.
We're like, let's not talk about this.
All right. So when was your guys' like first date, or even like, your guys' first time that you guys actually hung out outside of work?
I don't know if I remember that. That was like 5 years ago. But I think it was probably a week or two after. We just went to Starbucks. Like it wasn't
you guys
like
just did like a.
It was like a casual thing. Yeah.
Did you want it to be more than just like a casual kind of date, or did you want it to be a date?
Not at that time, no. Because it's kind of complicated. I was kind of with someone.
Oh.
But like, we were also like broken up at the time. Like it was kind of like an on and off type of thing, but it wasn't, I didn't want to be like anything serious with this guy. Well, mainly because I work with this dude and this is like my job. So like,
you're basically following the like,
the protocol
shit where you work kind of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of awkward if it goes there, but yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to go there.
Do you remember at the time, like what date number it was when you guys like held hands, kissed, or,
Sheesh. I don't know. Maybe in the summertime, because I did join, I think I was at April, May.
Okay.
So maybe in June?
Was your guys' first like kiss, or like you guys was like, okay.
Like somewhere in the summertime, because I don't.
And like, prior to this, it was...
I don't remember if it was summertime or during like Black Friday.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So that's a major difference in like.
You're talking about 5 years ago. I'm not gonna remember.
About, like, weather and everything.
I think it was after. I think it was in the summer, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I knew it was hot, so like it was definitely the summer. I'm probably thinking of another time though about. Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah, when things are hot, like inside the house, when mom or dad's like, the thermostat has to be at 80. You're like, cool. Yeah, I wanted it to feel horrible in here.
Exactly. No, I think it was the summertime for sure.
All right. And then after that, when did you know that, like this guy's really cool and everything, but like, when did you know, like, I kind of want to pursue this?
Maybe a year later. Wow. After we got to know each other. well, like I said, we were close. Close as best friends. Like we would tell each other everything.
Right.
Down to like who I'm dating or who we're talking to and stuff like that. So like at that time I kind of got jealous when he was talking to someone, and I think he was too, because I think that feeling was mutual, but we just didn't like speak up about it
because you guys were never like set in stone on what you guys were.
We were just kind of like there.
Gotcha.
Like it wasn't something that we established or talked about.
Okay.
I think it would have been weird at the time if we talked about it, but like I feel like everyone else who was like surrounding us like knew what was happening in a way.
Now, did you or him, did you guys ever bring like your supposedly like new partners around and they like got jealous or anything? No,
we never did that. I don't think we would do that ever
to that person.
No.
That's interesting, because I know
it's not about making people jealous.
Yeah, well, and I knew it wasn't about that, but it was more along the lines of like when you're more trying to establish along the lines of, you know, like, oh, you know, we did this thing, but now like I'm seeing this person, you're seeing this person. It's like, and we have this group of friends, like you would want to bring.
I think that would have just made it awkward at that point. Like,
probably.
I don't. Yeah, like it would have never happened. We still like, even when we were friends, like we never did that. So we just kept that part separate.
Yeah, that makes sense. When was the first moment that you guys, in a sense, tried? You guys weren't like, you know what, let's not have other partners. Let's just kind of try and make this work.
I don't think that ever happened.
Never.
Like, even if we're talking to someone, like we'll tell each other and then go from there. We'll still do whatever we want to do, but we weren't like in a relationship to be like, oh, we can't do this at all. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. It's a weird relationship between me and this person. Yeah. So it's like we were kind of together but not together. Okay. Type of thing. I don't know how to explain it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's literally the casual dating. It's almost the friends with benefits, but with a slight step up of that, because you guys knew exactly what you were, but you also both actually, in a sense, had feelings for one another, but neither of you were going to admit to it.
Yeah. That was the sad part.
And it is. And I know that, because at the same time, when you're younger, you don't
know what to do.
You don't, because you're like
you're
this
just
is
so
good,
confused.
But I also hate this.
Yeah.
You're like, because I want one of us to speak up.
But I think it was also because we worked together. So like, I've never been with anyone that I worked with. So let's say we did get together and we did break up, like how it would affect us in a way. It shouldn't, but like it would at the same time. Would. And I found that out later on with someone else, but we're not going to go there.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are doing your thing and everything. How long did this last?
Back and forth will probably be like 4 years.
4 years.
4 years of this and not being official.
Did you guys ever have big moments of you're like, you know, like he either was like, you know, like we're completely done, or like you said it?
I don't think he would have said it.
Ever said it?
I try to hold on to it because we're good friends. Yeah. And like you want to like cherish your good friends. Absolutely. He was a good guy. I'll tell you that. Like he knew what he wanted. I mean, he's smart. Yeah.
He sort of knew what he wanted.
He's smart. So like, I guess that's what kind of attracted me to him. Okay. Like he knew what he wanted in a sense of like where his goals were.
Yeah. Where to put his penis and everything. That's that. Yeah. He knew exactly where to go with that one.
Let's not do that yet.
He knew exactly where to lay some pipe, as
he knew his way around. Like I'll give him that. And I just fell for it, but it's okay. It's okay.
You know what?
I feel like that happens to a lot of people.
It does. And here's the thing. It doesn't just happen to women. It's happened to me too. It happened with a girl I was seeing when I was living back in Sacramento, California. Yes. I was like, woot woot, but you're a shithole. So no one started cheering too much. Funny enough, it was my younger brother's friend. They went to college together, and her and I briefly met like a few times. And I didn't know that she had a huge crush on me. But then,
Ooh.
yeah, I had no idea until she came back after, I think it was like a couple of years, like 3-4 years later. And she was in town and, you know.
It always happens out of nowhere.
It does. And we were all hanging out and everything. And she knew I was single. And she was like, you know what? She's like, now's the time I'm going to pursue this because I've never had an interest in my younger brother.
Yeah.
I don't have an interest at all in the older brother. She's like, but I've always been attracted to him.
Damn, look at you.
I know. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, making me blush.
I see it.
Yes. But so she, you know, in a sense, she made me realize like, oh, she's actually way into me. And not gonna lie, she's very attractive. Pretty sure she still is. If not, you know, downfall for everybody else but me. And it was that like we connected so well. And I never really knew that prior to it, but I like talking to her again, it like all those memories came back of like when her and I would talk. I was like, she was so easy to talk to. And it was the same thing with you. Like there's that almost instant chemistry.
Exactly. It's so weird. Like you just don't know, like you don't connect with anyone else except for this person. And it's exactly. Like, and how?
And it could be just a certain day or something, but there's just something about that moment. You're like, you're really easy to talk to. And at the same time, it could have been, you know, maybe I was just like being super friendly because
you let your guard down.
And I think
like me.
I think we both were able to because I think she was seeing somebody at the time and I think I was too. And because all she was doing was hanging out with my younger brother and his friends. Yeah. I was just treating her like
anyone else. Yeah.
Because I knew all of them. And I was like, it's his friends. Like, you know,
exactly.
Whatever. Like, you guys are in college. Like, it's fun. Like, yeah, fucking like, let's all drink, whatever.
Who cares, right?
Exactly. But it wasn't until later when, you know,
shit went down.
And and we're like all like a bit older that. So the small backstory is, you know, she was in Texas with her boyfriend. She came back to California and he stayed.
Oh,
so so in my head, I was like, I'm so sorry that happened. Like, that's a shitty way to break up. She's like, well, we're not really like broken up. And keep in mind, God. I didn't find this out until after her and I slept together. So there was
people are the worst.
And that's the thing. I'm just like, wait.
Way to fuck with your head like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I understand to the point where it's like, and then it was the same thing as like you and him had was there was something there. And as much as I wanted, I was like, but you also haven't broken up with him.
Yeah.
So it's
that's a downside.
Yeah, and I was like,
and
it's kind of hard for me to ignore this like red flag.
Right.
I was like, I'm like, you're always over here. And like, I'm happy because like, you know,
there's two sides and it's just the worst. Like you can't do anything about it, but you want to.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do though?
Exactly. And that was the biggest thing. I was
that's like the awkward situation where you're just like in the middle and like there's nothing you can do. I can't
call him and be like, hey dude, like so like
imagine if you could, like you'd be like, what the fuck?
I'd be like, so like we cool, bro? Like I know we're not cool because I'm, you know, sleeping with her, but like we good? Okay. All right, bye. I'll be like, I'm gonna block your number.
She'd be like, excuse me, the fuck are you talking about?
And it's funny too, because it got to this whole point where we were going through this constant like motion. And I'm sure you went through the issue with him too, where it was a constant thing of like, she always knew exactly what to say when I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't want to continue this because it's actually like, it's hurting me.
Yeah.
Like, I want you. I was like, but it's kind of hard to trust you because
your heart says you want it, but your brain is like, don't fall for it.
It's like, look, if we did the math equation on this, it's like, this is a really stupid idea.
The outcome is zero.
Yeah. Sometimes when people are once cheater, they're, what is it? Always a cheater. Yeah. Class. Repeat. Yeah. So it got to this point where, you know, I couldn't, but every time like we started texting or if I could be doing nothing. I literally could have not been working that day, could have just been watching movies and playing video games. And then I don't know.
Once they hit you up.
And then it's like, no, I was like, you know, I don't want to. And then 20 minutes later, it's like, wait, they're coming over. It's like, how did that happen? What did I say? Like, how did they manipulate me?
I reread the text and I'm like, did I really just say that?
Yeah. there are times where you're looking back at it and you go,
what a dumbass
like,
I was.
Oh my God. I literally broke down. I was like, I mean, if you want to come hang out, like, that's cool.
Oh, dead.
Yeah, and I'm sure that happened with you and him.
Plenty of times.
Where,
but like it kind of slowed down after a bit. So
what's after a bit?
As in like, so he didn't go to college. He went out of state. So like we would have times where we wouldn't talk, which is during semester. Mm-hmm. Obviously we're both busy. We have shit to do. We're not going to be on each other's asses about like, oh, hey, like, how are you doing? Whatever.
Okay.
So like whenever he would come back or like, we would just like talk out of nowhere and like catch up on everything. But, yeah, so that like it kind of started going downhill after he went to college, mm-hmm. which was a year later. This dude would come back, obviously, because we worked together. He was still working at this place. He went to Washington, D.C.
Oh, so he wasn't that far at all.
Yeah. Well, not that far, but like...
It's still a drive.
Would I go there, like drive the 3 hours to meet him? No. I don't think I would.
Okay.
I think that's just too far-fetched for me.
A little.
Yeah. I personally would like someone in my area.
I want someone next. Like, what? Okay, because
we were fine before college because this dude lived right here.
Yeah, he was like right next door to you pretty
literally.
Much. All right, so I have found out here in Jersey there is a time limit in a sense. People will drive. What is your time limit to go see somebody?
Listen, no one's worth my time.
Okay.
I don't think they are, because if they were, I would have done it by now. Yeah.
All right.
Max travel is 10 minutes. Literally.
Driving or walking? Because I know.
Driving. You can't go anywhere walking. I mean, if I could, I would.
Okay.
But I don't think that's possible.
All right, cool. So there's all that fun stuff.
Yes.
So all right, so the relationship kind of was going downhill. It
was just rocky from the like after the year mark.
Yeah.
So like talking, catching up, that's basically what we did. But we would always go to Starbucks to catch up.
Yeah.
That was like our thing, to just go to Starbucks. But we would just go talk about what we need to talk. If we're talking to someone, we'll say it, this and that. And that was pretty much it. But then like, you know, he initiates something and then, you know.
Yeah, there's all these like.
There's all that goes down. But he would tell me to come over his house like every now and then, and dumbass me would actually go. And
it would actually like fall into
that. He'd be like, oh, we're just chilling, like just hanging out. And
we're going to put on a movie and not watch it.
That's exactly what happened. Why are you reading my mind? I mean, you just know the story. Huh?
That was the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, I know you're a bit, and by a bit, I mean you are a lot younger than me.
Yes.
But there is that documentary. I don't know if you saw it on Netflix, but it was The Last Blockbuster.
Probably not.
No. So it literally covered basically like what my whole childhood was.
Netflix and chill.
And that's what it is. And so they basically talked about that too. They're like, sometimes the day was like, yo, baby, let's go get a movie at Blockbuster, get a pizza, and let's just go back. And it's like,
shit never happened.
That was the thing. And now it's Netflix and chill, where you guys either will span an hour trying to find something, or you're just like, I just don't understand why we're both not naked.
He would choose something, but like it's just like something random, and you're just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's The Office for the 30th time, like.
Or like some random movie, like what, I've never heard of this movie, like what the fuck do you have?
Yeah.
And like it would just go from there. But like I would try not to like fall into, because it's like a trap, right? Like,
oh, it always is.
So like me just like minding my business, like I'll literally take my phone and look at my phone, just like stare at my phone for no fucking reason, just to like avoid that situation. But like it just goes there. So what can I do?
I mean, and look,
listen, if the chemistry's there, it's there.
It is. And that's the other thing too, is that like,
but it could really fuck with your head.
I'm sure everybody's been like, it's like nodding their head like, yup, been there before. It's like, because we all have been there.
Yeah.
We all know what the Netflix and chill is. It's like, you know, it's like our chemistry is there. It's like, and honestly, I wouldn't really mind if we
in this situation in that time frame. Yeah, like you don't mind, but then afterwards you're like, why did we do this?
Yeah, because
like we're not like there.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, we're not there. We're not fully established. We
never established what we were. I was like, I literally asked him this. I was like, what are we? Like, are we friends? Are we, you know, friends with benefits?
Yeah.
Where are we standing? Literally, he's like, I don't know. And I was like, bro, if you don't fucking know, I don't know either.
Yeah. It's like, great. We both don't know. It's like, so what is this? Yeah.
Why are you in my life?
I had the same issue with the witch. We're going to call her that. I don't want to say her name. She would kind of do the same thing. And it was funny because I did the same thing as both of you did. I was still dating.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, you're still with somebody whom you're not breaking up with.
You shouldn't settle for less.
Yeah. And so I remember one time I went on a date. The girl and I had a lot of fun. We literally had lunch. And that was the only plan for that. And then she's like, so what else are we doing? I was like, God. Oh, there's more. I was like,
that's the start to everything.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, because you literally said, let's just meet up for lunch. And so I'm thinking like, okay, like if we have fun, 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something
that's like the max.
And so.
Not 2-3 hours. You don't deserve that much time.
No. I mean, I'm amazing. So I understood. But like,
listen,
nobody should, unless, and it was the same thing, like the chemistry was there and everything. So we ended up going to a bookstore because I have also found
how
out,
ideal.
because I found out that if you actually do like a small little date at a bookstore, like at a coffee shop, whatever kind of thing, you also get to find out a lot about the person.
Do you really?
Yes, because of the books that they're interested in. Now, I should have figured out some part of her was a bit crazy. Again, this is not
psycho.
The witch. This is a different woman.
Is she psycho?
No. Anyways.
So yes.
She read only like romance novels, which was weird. And I was like, yeah, I read like fiction. Like that's like my whole thing.
Romance.
Yeah. And then she ended up kissing me. And I was like, oh, this is weird. And then she invited me over to her place and we Netflix and chilled. And I actually didn't know what that was until after this. I was like,
until it actually happened.
What this was. I was like, oh, I get it now.
It makes sense to you.
And so here's the kicker. The night before, I slept with the witch, went on a date, went to this person's place, slept with her, and then went home later, and then basically like told everyone. They're like, how was your date? I was like, well, it's 10 and I left at 12, so it went very well. I was like, I'm gonna go shower now. And guess who was at my house?
That girl.
The witch. And what did she still do? She still came to my room, and we also slept together that night too. And here's the thing: it was still along the lines of like what you two had was, even though she knew, it was still like, all right, well, I still get you tonight still. And it was interesting because even though I knew she was jealous, and
didn't she have a man's?
That was the thing. I'm like, but you have a guy in Texas. I'm like, when you two are done, you and I can actually like progress into talking about like what this is.
That is
but
so
she would
weird.
Never do it. And then when she told me she did, I'd be like, why is he calling you? And then she would be like, so she's like, we didn't really break up. And went, so I was lied to.
What a bitch.
And then I broke it off. And then again, what ends up happening like 3 days later,
we're back together.
Yeah. Like she's over at my place. I'm like, how is she in my bed? It took her 10 minutes to convince me to like just to come over to hang out, air quote.
I kind of want to know their skill because I kind of want to do that. But at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, because then you're like, ooh, I feel guilty.
Do these people not feel guilty? Like in my heart, I think I'll be like, I'm such a bad person. Like, what is wrong with me?
And that's where
these people feel no guilt. And I'm just like so confused. I'm like, speaking of the time, me and him, we have a thing like we just drive around, whatever, we talk, like I said, catching up.
What a lot of people did.
Well, we kind of had to because he wasn't ever here, so like that's how we connected in a way. So yeah, like we're just driving and I just asked him, I was like, are you still with that girl? And he's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Because like us girls, like we know everything. Like you can't hide shit from us.
Accurate.
So like him being the dumbass, being like, no. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he does have a girlfriend. He's just not saying it. And we start making out. And then afterwards, he's like, yeah, we're still like together. And I'm like, Isn't that amazing? Isn't that great?
I love that it still went through this whole thing. You're like, you can't hide anything from me. Now put your tongue in my mouth.
It always goes to that.
I mean, it's with the person that you always have that strong chemistry with. Like,
it's so weird though, because I don't have
someone, and you will willingly still make that mistake going like,
exactly.
Like,
and then afterwards, I felt like a complete asshole. I was just like, oh my God, like I just did this. What if it comes out to her? I don't want someone hating me for that reason, because 1, it's technically not my fault. 2, I just had an intuition like that I just like knew.
Yes.
But like I wasn't 100% sure. So I don't want her coming at me crazy, and I don't want to die that early. So.
Well, and then that's the other thing too when it comes down to it. Even if she ended up finding out.
I think she did, because...
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm hoping he would.
But not like... Well, actually, no. I don't think she found out what we did. Like, making out. Okay, whatever. Yeah. That's not what she found out. But, like, I think he told her, like, our friendship, if you want to call that friendship.
Yes.
I think he just told her how, like, we're close in a way. So, not... I don't know. It's just like he does shit, but like he does it behind her back. But then I hear that she does the same thing behind his back. So I'm just like, bro, God. I guess they're meant for each other. Because
I was gonna say, I was like, it sounds like he has a pattern with some women. Like it's just he wants to constantly.
It's just, but you don't want to be in that situation.
No,
because you could be with someone else who makes you happy, right? And then easily them who you keep falling for. You're just wasting your time, basically.
And I feel like almost in a sense, like most people are wasting their time in that. Like I've dated a bit. And
listen, you're older than me, so you probably have more experience.
I mean, there's plenty of stories. I could literally have done the show all by myself, but I don't want to.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, this is why you're here. This is why I have guests coming on, because it's interesting to hear all these different stories, because at the same time, I've contemplated like, oh my, like, am I a bad person?
No. Well, it's just the other person.
And that's the thing. Like it's
in my opinion,
it's literally the line of like, it takes 2 to tango. Like,
yeah,
it's not really one person's fault, because regardless of whatever the situation is, it's like we kind of still fell for it. We still led them to that. Like,
yeah,
you and I are on that same like literally boat about this, where it's like,
but like I didn't sleep with him. I didn't sleep with him
at all. What?
Yeah.
You guys never slept together?
No.
Fooled around though?
Yeah.
Quite a bit?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, 1, because like I don't have time for that shit. 2,
so this went out for years and you guys never once slept together?
No. I mean, he has said like, you know, like stay over and shit, but like me, I'm like no thanks. I'm like, first of all, I got work tomorrow. I got this to do tomorrow.
I got to shower and look cute. You can do whatever you want.
Like, you know me, like I need my own bed. Like his bed was comfy, but like I would not sleep there. I just be like, yeah, I'm out. Like 3 o'clock was max. 3 a.m. was max for me.
Okay.
And then I'll be out. I'll be like, yeah, I gotta go.
Was there a reason you two never did sleep together, or?
I think it was me, basically. Just telling him, like, nah, I can't do that. And it's not even when he was single, like, I wouldn't do that.
There was no, like...
Well, because my parents...
you rubbed it a bit and he was like instantly or anything, like...
Listen, if you want to go there, we could go there.
I mean, we're going to have to now. I want to go there at this moment, so...
No, well, mainly because I didn't sleep with him was honestly because my parents would probably whip my ass.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not your age, so I'm not like independent.
Just in case, everyone, like we're only like about 10 years old. Like I know she's making it seem like I'm like 20, 30 years older.
No,
I'm not. Like,
I'm not making you seem that old.
You sounded like you're like, look, I know you're a lot older. It's like chill.
No, but like you have your own place and stuff. I don't. So
yeah,
I had parents that are kind of like strict, but not strict at the same time. It's weird. But like, yeah, sleeping over a guy's house is completely different than sleeping over your girlfriend's house.
Yes.
So yeah, that would have never happened.
So you guys in a sense had an obstacle along the lines of like, if you guys were to
listen, if he was my boyfriend, then yeah, my parents would be like, okay, like that's fine. Totally fine.
Okay.
But considering my parents don't know him, and it's just like a random dude to them. Do they still
not know who he is till this day?
Probably not. I don't.
Fantastic.
I'm not gonna talk to them about that. To them.
That's true. I understand that. I mean, my parents.
If it was a boyfriend, yes.
Yeah. But
if not,
because it was like a casual friends with benefits almost kind of thing.
I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah. Okay, so you're also going away from my original question. So what was because I made the joke of like, if you touched it, like he was already like this. Was there moments of that? Like if you like,
I try not to go there, like, because I knew like this wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
In a sense, it wouldn't. But at the same time, I tried to give it hope it would.
Okay.
But I kind of just like pushed myself back. Like I held myself back, and I'm like, do you honestly think this is worth it? Like we'll make out and stuff like that. But other things, and then like grind
against each other and stuff.
I try not to.
Okay.
Like if it was, well, we did, but like
it was
just like. No, but let me finish.
Okay.
That was like mostly when we would like hang out at his house.
Right.
So like he would have to sneak me into his house because his parents are like sleeping or whatever.
Got it.
And we'll either be in his room or his basement. This is so detailed.
I was like, hot. Wow, room or basement. Nothing says mood killer.
I know, like but listen, basement. we do what we have to do.
Yeah, I understand when you're young and
you do what you do,
and you're like, you know, we're living at our parents' home. It's like we gotta at least touch like a boob. Or something.
He definitely would.
Yeah,
but I would have to sneak out of my house. And I don't like lying to my parents.
Yes.
So I would try to make up excuses. At least try to make it believable.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would meet him after hours. But yeah.
I just had a craving for some Denny's. I just had to go get some.
It's a girlfriend's birthday. I have to go at midnight.
She wants to celebrate it at midnight. So literally. I gotta go.
I mean, technically, I celebrate my birthday at midnight, so it's a good excuse.
Hey,
if anyone needs advice on giving excuses, I got you.
Yeah. So you can reach out to X Marks the Spot podcast, yes. And we will directly give VK the messages of like, how do I sneak out of my house? And just I need everyone to understand. Please be over 18. I'm like, we're not giving teenagers advice. I'm like, I am not being liable for this shit.
Me either. I don't fall for that.
You can be an adult. You know how to sneak out of your house. Just be smart about it.
So back to your question.
Yes.
Honestly, I only fucked him like once.
Wait. You just said you two never slept together.
Well, like stayed overnight, but like this, I don't really count it as that.
Because it was honestly, so quick? That's a yes. So we got okay. So you guys never really slept together because it ended too quickly.
Oh yeah.
Minute. We're gonna give the benefit of the doubt and say a minute because from your response, it sounds
two.
Like at best. Cool. 2 minutes at best. And here's the thing. I'm sure you're not alone on that story.
I think he was nervous. I'm gonna just give it to him because he was nervous or something.
And I mean, it could have. I'd say
it could be anything, honestly.
Yeah. However, and yes, that is true. Guys,
I don't know how he is with other girls, but like with me, it wasn't all that.
It was way too quick.
Yeah.
Was it? This is gonna be so weird.
I don't know. I don't want this to go.
Was it like in and out and he was done, or listen, was he basically like a teenager who was just like, he's like, I'm gonna just go and pound this, and then
that? Yeah.
It was just that.
Let's give it the second option.
Okay. Almost the latter.
Listen, if he would have done better, maybe I would praise him.
And then you would have actually admitted that you two slept together.
Yeah.
Wow.
But since it was literally like a 2-second type of thing, I don't want to consider it.
Okay.
You know, like it doesn't count.
That's fair, because in a sense, it was basically it started and then it was over before I realized. But
he knows that too, because I bring it up. Well, when we used to talk, I used to bring it up as a joke. I used to bring it up as a joke, and he's not that serious. So like he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, but then he would like try to like be like, oh, like this happened and that happened. I was like, nah, dude.
So let's go with this. Any guy, and I'm sorry for, I know, guy code, like I'm losing my card for this. Your game's weak. I'm just saying that right now. That's happened to me before, and it was literally because everything felt amazing at that point. But at the same time, I still remember it was at least a little bit over 5 minutes. I have never been like a 2-pump Chuck. If your name is Chuck, I'm so sorry. But I've never been to that point.
Or but maybe it was 5 minutes. It just felt like...
It just felt so quick.
Yeah. Like time just flew by.
But at the same time, the partner at that time who I had, we have had sex and we've had nice, good sessions, like actual like... long...
Must be nice, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I can't relate.
And I can, because I know how this works, because in my head, I'm like, if I'm ever a minute man, I will actually cut it off. Like, and I'm sorry for every guy who's like, hey, but
I mean, listen,
fix your game.
It happens. I don't blame you guys, but like,
it does happen. But if it's a constant thing, you gotta fix.
Well, after that, we never tried. Well, I denied it. I was just like, no. You
denied it, yeah, because you're just like, I don't
want to experience the same shit, because what's the point?
Exactly. But
I've had better.
Yeah. I don't doubt that. I mean, it also gets to the point too, though, that like, regardless of whatever the excuse is, like, oh, you know, it was like this, it's like, just admit, like, it felt great. It'll actually make...
To him, like, obviously it will feel great, but like, to me, it's just like, what the fuck just happened?
But, and again, it goes to like, if it's happened once in a while, it might happen again. If you were, that's one thing. It's like, but if it was like, that's what happens all the time, it's like, it's because a guy's he's doing something horrible to himself that it's like, that's causing that. Like, because there's to the point too where it's like, there are guys where like they say that, and I'm like what? I'm like, do you watch porn and it takes like 5 seconds? I'm like, because that's a bad thing, dude. Like, that's not good for anyone. Like, it's not fun for you. I'm sure you're just like, you know, did you come? It's like, no, because it was 5 seconds. Like, how was it supposed to? How was anybody supposed to?
Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say after that? Like, a great job.
Here, let me applaud you. You're my rocket ship of love. Congratulations.
Let me just give you a thumbs up real quick.
Here, let me score you like in the Olympics. 6.5, not too bad. Like,
oh my God, I give it a negative. If you want to be honest, negative.
Negative. Wow. Okay. So it was a negative score on that. Now, I will admit, the first time that the witch and I slept together, she actually thought I was going to be just like one and done.
Really?
Yes. But I actually remember her and I, it was almost like 30, 40 minutes. And
Not bad.
And I only remember that because the entire time she was like, I remember at one point she actually asked me, she's like, are you actually going to come or not? Like,
are you done yet?
Because, again, she had a guy who, she's like, our longest sessions is like 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And she's like, and those were rare. Like, those would be like, maybe he jacked off like 4 times that day. And then he was like, oh, okay, like I can have sex for a while. So the fact that like that happened between us, I
low-key feel bad for her.
I do too. I feel low, not even low-key.
But
I feel bad for anyone who has a partner that is just like an instant like, hey, it's like, you want to have sex all night? It's like, so we're going to have sex for 20 minutes and like. That's
like high school romance. Like, yeah, that shit just pops off and that's it. You're done.
And that's it. And that's
you're just like, where did the time go?
Yeah. And that was actually the thing that in a sense kept her coming back. She's like, oh my God, like sex can actually last longer.
No, really?
Yeah, I know. It's like, wow, what a crazy thing. And then, you know, then the whole manipulation thing started because she got way too attached.
She knew what she wanted and she got it.
And every single time, apparently, she knew exactly how to manipulate me to just be like, well, I'm going to go in your bed. I'm like, all right, well, nothing's happening. And I was like, I'm an idiot. Like, of course.
2 seconds later.
Yeah. I'm like, of course it's going to happen. I'm like, I'm attracted to her.
Exactly.
And our chemistry is crazy.
And that's so funny because he says the same thing. He's like, I'm sexually attracted to you. And then I'm here like, yeah, but what are we?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't go any further if you don't tell me what the fuck we are.
And that was the thing. So.
But her having a man's is like completely different.
No, the man's was also a huge issue. So at one point, this is when I was kind of like, you know what? Like, we're already having sex. Like,
yeah.
What's the worst that can happen now? Like, she's going to break up with this guy. So at one point, her and I had a little physical, and she actually was going down on me. And lo and behold, who ends up calling her on the phone? It's her quote unquote boyfriend. And what does she do? She continues to go down on me while taking the phone call. And I'm not going to lie, I know it's so shitty of me, but I was like, kind of hot. Like, I feel
she can multitask.
Yeah, she was doing great too. Like, she would go down and then she would stop and be like, yeah, it's not a big deal, and then just continue right back. Like, she would answer his questions, and I was like, this is literally a porno for me right now. Like, I was like, if I had cameras in here, like, I could sell the shit out of this scenario.
You'd be a millionaire by now.
I mean, I would at least be, with more money at one point. But so it was. She
got talent. I'll give it to her.
Oh, that's multitasking talent right there. The fact that she also, in a sense, wasn't making noise while on the phone doing that, I was like, I'm pretty sure.
You're probably like hella impressed.
I was impressed.
You're like,
because
shit.
Yeah, because one, I was like, obviously in my head of like happiness, and I'm like, she's doing this right now, like while on the phone. Like, I don't know how.
Mind blown.
Yeah, boom. And then, it every now and then I wanted it to progress more and more, but I was like, but she's not breaking up with him. I was like,
that always happens though.
And I can't be with somebody who is, in a sense, afraid to break up with someone. So it's gonna get a little dark.
We love dark.
Yeah. So when they did break up, I was actually like, wow, this is actually kind of nice. There was like almost this weight off my shoulders. And so I remember the night that she came over, she broke it off with him and everything. I think she came over and we were watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something, like just a comedy show. Cause I also knew she was like, we were on and off since like high school. And, this is also still kind of like weird because and I didn't realize how weird it was going to get, but she was like, I'm just having a shitty day. He was calling her. And here's the thing. He called her through 2 episodes.
You're joking.
Every other minute. On top of, and this is where it gets psycho. And this
I thought they broke up.
Yes. And this is where I knew, I was like, oh, this is what actually was the reason why she was like afraid to do it. He called her every 2 minutes. In between the calls, he would text her. In between those, sometimes he would email her. So
email? Who the fuck emails?
Yeah. No joke. She had over 100 missed text messages in 2 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which, keep in mind, everyone, that's like 20-ish minutes. So in about 40 to 45 minutes, she had over 80 missed calls and like over 100 text messages. My
best friend had to go through that. And honestly, like, I would go crazy because, like, just shut the fuck up already.
Yeah. And
why didn't she just block him?
Well, and that was the thing. Like,
email. I don't know if you could block emails.
Well, and that was the thing. So she blocked his email at one point, and then just, of course, out of nowhere, there was these guys who were like his friends.
Oh, no.
So he was like creating new emails to always reach out to her and stuff. He was doing anything. And then it got to the point to where
call it on like unknown ID or some shit like that.
And then one night, I remember she got a call and she's like, I'm just going to deal with this. Like, I just need him to understand it's over. He apparently...
No, once you do that, you go back to them.
He apparently...
Or am I jumping too soon?
Almost. This is where it gets dark. So he had her on the phone, and this is where the manipulation is like fucking crazy. And I was like, nah, I kind of understand.
This is
like
juicy.
It's very... He called her and she was like, I'm just going to talk to him and like basically explain like, dude, it's over. Like, you're in Texas, you're staying there. I'm here and I want to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm not doing long distance. Like, I'm already kind of seeing somebody.
Long distance never works.
It never does. Especially when neither of you wants to
only
leave.
like 0.5% works.
Yeah. So he basically was trying to manipulate her into getting back together by loading his gun and saying that he's going to kill himself.
Oh my God.
To the point where she said she heard him loading the bullets in. And she's like crying outside and everything. And
okay, this guy is officially psycho.
He's an actual psychopath. So I was like, are you okay? And then she told me what happened. And I took her phone and I hung up. And I was like, here's the thing.
You're not responsible for
You're not responsible for anybody who does that. But apparently later on, she kind of told me like he kind of has done this before. I was like, oh, so he's using it as a tool to manipulate you.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, reach out to his sister.
And let her know.
Out in Texas. And I was like, let her know immediately. So apparently she ended up doing that.
Mm-hmm.
The sister and her husband like broke down his door.
To get him.
And apparently, the gun was like on the table and everything. They talked to him. She's like, thank you for doing that. She's like, we have talked to him and we are considering on like sending him to
a mental hospital.
He apparently said he went.
Probably not.
No, because he was like, hey, I'm sorry for everything I did. I'm actually checking myself in, blah, blah.
No.
And then here's the thing. 24 hours later, he's like texting her. He's like, hey, I'm here. I was like, you don't get to have your phone.
Yeah. That's like not a privilege.
Yeah. I was like, you're not allowed to have your phone on you. Like, unless you're given that time. Like, hey, therapy is letting me keep. And he was like, hey, you know, like, just want you to know I'm checked in and stuff. I was like, what? I was like, you don't get to keep your phone. And then later he was like, hey, he's like, I'm out. Like, I'm this and that. I was like, either Texas sucks or he's fucking lying. Like,
he's probably lying.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure he's lying. I was like, there's no way he went in. He's like, I'm cured. I'm fine. Like, they were like, hey, man, okay, thumbs up. Get out of here.
Bullshit.
Yeah, a bunch of terrible shit. So he started doing it again. So we blocked his number and all this stuff. But
you probably made her psycho or
and I think that's what ended up happening. Like, she realized, like, because this was like the norm for her.
Yeah.
For years. And so when I was basically like, no, like, we're not doing anything, like, she saw that, like, well, then I'm going to just manipulate the situation into like doing that. And that's what's crazy to me is there's some people, and I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if he ever went through anything like trauma wise like that.
I don't
there's
think
something that caused that to being like, well, it's okay if I keep, in a sense, abusing her.
They're just so used to it. They don't know the difference of what they're doing.
They don't understand. Like,
but no, my guy was not like, he was not like that.
No, I'm sure he would not do it to that extent, but he knew exactly, in a sense,
he knew ways,
clever way to talk to you and to be like, hey.
He knew the words. He knew what to say.
He knew
but
exactly how to
like
tell you.
Crazy in the head to like do that. So.
Yeah. I know everyone out there has had their psycho. If you haven't, congratulations. Because honestly, as you are hearing right now, it is really not fun to deal with that situation. And I felt bad for her at some points because I was like, I can't relate with this.
Yeah.
I've had crazy. Like,
well, now you can.
I mean, I can now with this, but like I've had crazy girlfriends. I was like, but at that moment, I was like,
they weren't to that extent.
No one has ever been like, so I'm gonna drop pills or like I'm literally gonna stab my heart. I'm like, what is going on?
I would probably just be like, all right, dude, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah. All right, bye. And it's like, oh, wrong number. And then you just hang up. And I understand, like, there's still going to be that guilt. And that's what she was feeling. And I understood because she was like, what if he does? I went, well, then he does. I was like, but it's not on you.
I
was like, and everyone listening, because I've also had friends and everything growing up, like, we don't
condone that shit, though.
We are never responsible for that.
Yeah.
Yes, if you stayed on the phone, it's like, but who's to say, like, what if you stayed on the phone and then you heard it? I'm like, that's more therapy you have to go through because regardless of the situation, they had already a plan of like how to manipulate you.
Exactly.
And it sucks because no one should ever go through that. And people who do that, you're fucking assholes. Like,
it's on themselves.
It tends to be. But then it also gets to the point of, you know, people who know exactly how to talk to you and are like, and then they're all like, how are you through my door? How are you in my room? And it's like, what went
Where
through?
Did we go?
Yeah. It's like, I broke up with you. It's like, and you're here. Exactly. I don't know how any of the situation came to be.
Isn't it crazy how that works though?
It is.
You don't know how to do it, but other people do.
Yes.
And
it's funny because you're like these are the salesmen of the year, and they don't know how to sell shit.
Exactly.
Like they don't know how to sell me a BMW, but getting in my pants, they know exactly how to do that. Like
they know how to work their ways. So it's incredible. It's a great trait to have.
So
that was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah. I hope it was sarcasm. So when you guys were kind of doing your thing, did you change anything about yourself? Being like, oh, he'll be more attracted to this?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. I think he liked the way I was or am.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change my ways for anyone. If you don't like me the way I am, then fuck off. Like, I don't need you in my life.
VK's VK. That's all it is,
exactly. If you know me, you know me.
Yeah. If you ain't gonna like me in my hoodies and sweatpants, like, what's the
bum
point?
ass.
Yeah. That's the other thing too that always finds. I remember there was a while on, I think it was Instagram or maybe Twitter, but it was like girls posting like their pictures of like if a guy can't handle you at this, and it's like her dolled up, and then she's like, but he's like disgusted by you like this, like normal like PJs and stuff. God. She's like, he ain't your man. I went, okay, then stop dressing that way. Like no offense. I was like, but to anyone who's like, hey, he's like, if you can't handle me at this, then you don't deserve me at this in your PJs. I was like, first of all, if you're never in your PJs in front of me,
you got an issue.
Yeah, you're clearly telling me you have never had someone sleep over at your place.
Listen, or you just have really high standards. And
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Because I have always dated women who really don't always wear makeup and everything. They're just like, I'm just comfy. I'm like,
I wear makeup, but it's natural makeup.
Yeah.
It's not like, let me just be full
you're basically
on,
you're not
like,
to the point
glam.
where like let me do this like hot red lipstick. Let me put on a whole
let
like
me be a businesswoman real quick.
Yeah. It's like, where are you going? To the grocery store. What do you think? It's
where the fuck do you think I'm going?
And I remember that was a thing for a while. Like all these girls were posting, and I went,
I think I remember that.
Yeah, a bit, right?
It was going on for a bit.
A while. And
I think it was like a little trend going on back then.
It was. And I went, okay. I was like, so don't date those guys then. I'm like, or maybe don't have such a high maintenance of yourself where you're like, I have to dress like this. Like, listen, you don't. Like,
I dress as a bum all the time. And like, if you don't like me as a bum, then fuck off. Yeah. Like, I don't care.
Also at the same time.
You think I'm going to be dressing nice for you? Get the fuck out of here.
It's like, are we going to somewhere for dinner that's nice? It's like, guess what? I'll put on some jeans. And that's like,
if you're paying, I'll dress nice.
Yeah. I'll maybe put on a dress.
Maybe. And maybe. I don't.
You're like, I may put on sweats. It's like, it depends. Are we getting some lobster? It's like, because I'm going to need those stretchy pants. Like,
yeah. Backup clothes. But I will never wear a dress for you.
No. And I've seen guys who like get super ready. I'm like, where are you going? They're like, gym. I went, why are you getting ready? Just put on a beanie. Like, go.
Yeah. Not even that. Just go.
Yeah. Who cares?
I don't know. But like,
I know everybody has to have a certain image when you go out, and I understand that.
Yes, when you go out, but like not when you're doing like stupid shit like this.
If you're gonna be,
are you gonna be home in fucking like a suit and shit? No,
yeah, no.
So why do you expect
I'm
that?
Not Barney Stinson, like
for real. Like, what are you gonna do with the suit on?
You're just like, all right. You're like,
can you take it off? Yeah. No, I can't.
Yeah. Put on some PJs. Everyone relax. Like, everyone have a good time together.
If you can't relax with me, you can't be around me.
No. And honestly, that has always been the biggest thing for me. It's along the lines of like, if we legit can't be comfy next to each other,
then what's the point?
Yeah, then what's the point of even getting a relationship?
Yeah, exactly.
Because isn't that kind of the whole point? Is like, you don't always have to doll up. Like, I'm not saying quit trying to be attractive, because that was the...
I mean, you do you, right?
Yeah.
But like, don't like go overboard.
Exactly. Don't always be like, oh shit, like, let me tweeze my eyebrows for her. Like, she only knows me with like perfect eyebrows. It's
please, no one's gonna notice that from a mile away.
Last thing I'll mention on that, because it cracks me up. So I'm a huge nerd. So
I know there's girls like that though.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I go to anime conventions and everything like that, like Comic-Con and whatnot. And at some of them, they have a speed dating.
They do?
Yes.
Okay, well, listen, I've never been there.
I know, which I'm telling some people about.
That's kind of interesting, though.
It is fascinating, but so I have never really been into one, because like dudes line up like 2 hours prior, because like, well, all right, I'm gonna find this one girl for me. Here's my favorite part, though.
Just do you.
Every time I've tried to go, I'm still in cosplay. There are guys who go change.
Oh my God.
To look super douchey. to try and get laid basically from these.
That's so much effort.
And they're always like the first guys in line. I went, you guys realize where we're at, right? Like,
way to make it obvious.
Yeah, and the last time I tried doing it, I remember there's two guys, and I don't know if they were friends or if they were literally like douche central friends, but they both had button-up shirts, and they both had they stopped at like button 5, so like,
oh my God,
they could show their chest. They both had like kind of necklaces on, and I was like, what a bunch of dorks. Like,
if you're not Italian, don't fucking do that.
And it was funny because they were like, hey man, and I could see them like talking like, yeah, like this and this, and I went, I was like, neither of you are gonna get laid tonight, like from any of these women, and if you do, it's gonna be the ones who are like, I don't really like you,
but I just want it.
Yeah. And it's funny because I stay in my costume, and I see all the girls that are still in it too. I'm like,
obviously they're interested in
someone
certain type.
Yeah, who's gonna be part of this community. Like, you
guys have a mutual like not connection, but like a mutual thing. So like, what sense does it make to be in a suit? Yeah, it was really weird. Like my friend, she's gone to them, and she's like, some of these guys are just like nothing but a nervous wreck. She's like, so I understand why some women are like, like, I'm never gonna find a guy who's like super nerdy and into this stuff. And I'm like, and it's because someone like me who actually knows how to talk, can never get into these, because 30 of these guys who are like practicing how to like socialize. I feel like that's just like annoying a little bit, because I'm like, I want to date one of these cosplay girls, and I can't fucking get in there. Geez, I wonder why. Yeah, that's because there's two dudes who are 2 hours before it, like dressed up like complete like douches, and just like a bunch of, what is it? You can literally see through them. You can see through them. Like, oh yeah. It's, guys, if you're out there, stop doing that. Just stop. Just stop. Yeah. Be yourself, and if that's yourself, be somebody else. Yeah. If you can't get that girl, it's okay. Be someone fun. Just be fun. Like, that's all it has to be. Exactly. Like, who wants a boring ass dude who just like pretends like he's one thing but is another? Yeah. Like, come on. And then I'm sure you're just playing yourself at this point. Yeah. The guys are like, so do you watch anime? It's like, of course she watches anime. Why the fuck are we here? We all are losers. Like, we've been watching anime. This is why I can't do speed dating, because I'll be like, you're too boring for me. Like, get over it. I won't lie. Even with the pandemic, it's like Tinder, but like, yeah, but guys on Tinder are boring too. More time consuming, because you actually have to be somewhere, and you're like, you're like, can I swipe left on you in real life? Like, imagine if you could. Yeah, no, you're just like, that'd be great. Like, a screen just pops up, and you're just like, here's this, and this. Oh, okay, swipe left, swipe right. And then you just like meet up at like a mutual location, and just like, all right, like, what's up? That actually would be interesting. And it's like, hey, maybe in the future. Yeah. Hey, if anyone hasn't gone on that app, we are claiming it right now, so no one can take it. Well, VK, thank you for joining me on today's episode. I had so much fun talking to you and learning about so much about the on and off of like casual friends with benefits. Oh, this together is thing. Nothing now. Yeah. Nothing. Oh, yeah. And that's the, before we finish it, you guys are completely done talking now, right? Like, yes. You've completely ended it and everything. I ended it. All right. How long ago did you end it? Maybe like a week or two ago. Oh, all right. About there. Yeah. All right. And so just in case for everyone, if you're listening, we are recording this in like mid-May. So of 2021. So yeah, that means. Ooh, COVID. Yeah. So if you're listening to it right now, like, it's only been a few months. Yeah. Wow. VK, thank you again. And we are going to cheers to my ex. And I just want to mention that VK and I are drinking whiskey and Coke. It seems to be a favorite so far. Thank you again. Bye. Thank you for listening to X Marks the Spot podcast. Episodes are released every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Just simply look for X Marks the Spot podcast. If you have a story you'd like to share and be on the show, please feel free to reach out at xmarksthespotpodcast@gmail.com or DM us on any of our social media. Thank you again for listening.